And just FYI, it's not that it's the key changes.
Good morning, and welcome to the Community Church of Chapel Hill, Unitarian Universalist. I am Atticus Graysmith, a member of the Worship Associates Ministry. I especially want to welcome any visitors or newcomers to our church and call your attention to the special note for you, welcome guests and newcomers, on the back side of your order of service. I would also like to welcome those of you attending online. Lyrics to hymns and all elements of the service may be found on the screen. And a complete order of service, including this week's announcements, is available via the link in the Sunday morning email and on the church website. Please take a moment to turn off or silence any cell phones during our service to maintain a worshipful experience. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you arrived at this beloved place, you are welcome here. We will now hear from the cast of the SpongeBob musical.
Hello everyone, I'm SpongeBob and you should come see SpongeBob the Musical from November 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. And who's the lucky sponge in the mirror who is living his dream? Who's always extra careful with his dental hygiene? Hey guys, it's me, happy just to be here in the world-renowned Bikini Bottom. How I love this town, Bikini Bottom, and the sun shines down on a beautiful Bikini Bottom day. Good morning, Patrick.
Oh, good morning already.
Yup, and I'm doing it within these walls.
Oh, I want to help.
I missed a snack. My busy schedule makes it hard to be me. To stay on track, now I'll have to eat it while I'm watching Thom preach. There may not be time for a nap, but I'll do what I can. They're showing all the episodes of Mermaid Man. Every single one! I'm spending all day underneath my favorite rock.
Would you two please keep it down?
Good morning, Squidward!
Another day, another migraine. When I want some quiet, there's nowhere to go. A sensitive artiste can't get a moment's peace with these two idiots in stereo. They never go away. Typical Bikini Bottom day.
Hey, look, it's Sandy!
Trail clear across the sky, above the town and looking down on a typical Bikini Bottom day. In the world renowned Bikini Bottom, our own hometown, Bikini Bottom, and the sun shines down on a beautiful Bikini Bottom day.
How do I follow that? Make sure you get your tickets for SpongeBob the Musical, November 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. As we sing our opening hymn this morning, I invite you to turn to number 1001 in your teal hymnal. The song is called Breaths. And if you didn't get a chance to do so before the service, if you came with either a picture of someone that you're remembering, you're invited to bring it forward and place it on the table up front. Or if you would like to light a candle for someone you're remembering, you can do that at either of the altars on either side. But I invite us to rise and sing number 1001, Breaths.
Listen more often to things than to these.
The words of invocation this morning are adapted from words by Lynn Cox. Welcome, you who approach this time as a journey toward the horizon, the beginning of the next chapter, seeking all of the insights and opportunities the new day offers. Welcome, you who live out your values with passion, who have a drive for transforming the world toward gratitude and healing, who are ignited by purpose. Welcome, you who ride the waves of life with serenity, you who show courage in facing the depths of true emotion, you who create and change and flow with time. Welcome, you who are here to seek the center, you who wish to be grounded in community, you who call our attention to the present moment. Welcome all from every direction, with all of your gifts and your limits, with all that the past week and the past year have given you. We find ourselves here on the threshold of a new day, some would say a new year, at a time when the past and the present are stirred together in the cauldron of what we shall become. Today, we remember our beloved dead. Today, we give thanks to the people and the forces that helped us to reach this moment. Today, we gather with the saints and the sinners and souls who have been, are being, and will be this congregation as we open up a new path to the future. You will find the words for our chalice lighting in your order of service. If you wish to do so, please join me in reading them. We light our chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the loving heart. This is the church of the helping hands.
steep. Snow in the winter covered seas that sleep. Sun melts the ice and the warm earth gives water to the sprouts and the green world lives. Watch for a sign, keep your heart alive. The Spirit breaks new ground whenever something dies. Watch the shadows closely, the tears will clean your eyes. The Spirit breaks new ground whenever something dies. You may have lost a toy, or you may have lost a dream. You may have lost a friend, someone who you need. Your chest can feel the pain that makes it hard to breathe, but your love will always stay and the pain will leave. Watch for a sign, keep your heart alive. The Spirit breaks new ground whenever something dies. Watch the shadows closely, the tears will clean your eyes. The Spirit breaks new ground whenever something dies.
Each year, in late October, we hold a service of remembrance. We do this in late October because this is the time of the year when Christians, especially Catholics, recognize All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. We do this in late October because this is the time of the year when European pagans celebrated festivals like Samhain, the festival of the final harvest, the festival marking the entrance into darker times of the year, and also, importantly, the festival of the dead. We do this in late October because all around us we see falling leaves and longer nights. This is the time in the natural world when we think of endings. In our church, we hold a service of remembrance because it is important to remember. Remembering is sacred, and it grounds our living in the larger human story of life and loss. Each year, we may sing different music, or tell different stories, or set up altars that look different from year to year. And I want to just say a word of appreciation to Marion Hirsch, who created the altars that we see before us today. So each year, a service is a little different, but the act of remembering stays the same. In this time, I am going to talk about a few people who we are remembering as a church community, and about some of the people we may be remembering this day. And then Jenn is going to lead us in a responsive reading, after which we will all have the opportunity to speak out the names we are remembering this day. This past year, our church has felt the loss of 5 dear and beloved souls, treasured members of our congregation. This morning, we remember Barbara Dennis. We remember Kate Carroll. We remember Goodloe Sutler. We remember Peter Witt. We remember Shannon Richards. We remember them with deepest love and gratitude for their connections to this beloved community. Many of us come this morning remembering a dear family member. Some of us may have lost a grandparent. Some of us, including me, lost a parent this year. Some of us may have lost an aunt or an uncle or a sibling. Some of us may have lost a partner. Some of us may have lost a child. Some of us may come this morning thinking about an animal companion they have lost, a cat or a dog, a beloved part of our family. Some of us may be thinking in this time about the loss of a friend. And some of us may be thinking about the death of someone they did not know, but who touched their life as a musician or a creator or a leader or a person devoted to justice or a source of spiritual wisdom. Let us hold this time of remembrance as Jenn leads us in a responsive reading.
Our reading this morning is number 721 in the Gray Hymnal. They are with us still. I will read the first sections, and then if you can read the parts in italics. And when we're finished, I'm going to invite all of you. We're going to take a moment where you can speak out the names of those that you are remembering today or those that have given you strength. In the struggles we choose for ourselves, in the ways we move forward in our lives and bring our world forward with us.
It is right to remember the names of those who gave us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the power of our lives well lived.
We share a history with those lives. We belong to the same motion.
They too were strengthened by what had gone before. They too were drawn on by the vision of what they might come to be.
Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, have not melted into the dust and have not disappeared.
They are with us still. The lives they lived hold us steady.
Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands, and their hearts.
We take them with us, and with them choose the deeper path of living.
Now I invite you to speak out loud the name of those that you are remembering and holding today. Amen.
I just want to say a few words about this piece, Nenye, that we're going to be singing by Brahms. The words, first of all, we'll be singing it in English, even though it was written in German, are in your order of service on the inside of the first page. And Brahms had a good friend named Anselm. He was a painter that died at very young, about age 50. Brahms was later in his life and wanted to memorialize him and other friends that have died. And Brahms was a humanist and an agnostic, so instead of turning to Christian religious text, he chose this text by the Friedrich von Schiller poet. And in the text, he talks about all the different, the myths, the gods that have died, and even gods must die, all beauty must die, and this is a way of consoling himself. And he goes through the Stygian Zeus is Hades, and you all remember the myth of Aphrodite and, not Aphrodite, but Eurydice and Orpheus. That I think is in the Hades Town musical now. That's what the first story is about. And then the second is about Aphrodite and Adonis, who was killed by a wild boar, and then Achilles, who we all know the story of Achilles' heel. So the important part to me of this poem is the end where he says, "For all beauty must fade, all perfection must die, for a song of lament from the lips of the loved one is glorious." So if we remember them and sing a song and remember these are lost ones, that's glorious. So this is Nenya.
I'm so grateful to our choir, to our choirs, plural, both our community church choir and our chalice choir, for the gorgeous music this morning. For all the saints who from their labors rest, alleluia, alleluia. I'm going to share a little reflection about remembering today. And to do that, I am going to use a hymn from our hymnal. The hymn I'm going to use, we're going to sing it in a little bit. It's hymn number 103. It's called For All the Saints. And if you want to follow along, you can actually open your hymnal to 103. This hymn, and I have a long history, it was at one point, many years ago, it was my absolute favorite hymn, and I liked it so much that even though I have never taken piano lessons, I decided to sit down one day and figure out how to actually play it. With one finger. I learned the rest of the notes too, but I love it so much, and somehow we have never sung it in church here the whole time I've been the minister, and that's going to change in just a moment. This hymn is about remembering, and it's about a special kind of remembering. It's about remembering those people who came before us, maybe long before us, especially people who worked for justice, who worked for peace, who worked for freedom, who worked for goodness, who helped bring more love into the world. And the first two verses of this hymn are all about those people, those saints, those ancestors, those people we look up to. And it's about how now they are gone, they rest, for all the saints who from their labors rest. But it's about how they lived lives that were important, who they spoke about what matters. They worked, even in difficult circumstances, to bring a little bit more light and love into the world. And so the first two verses are all about saying our praise and thanks. And then the third verse, it changes. And if you look at the page, the third verse is actually pulled out. It's on the opposite page. That's how we know there's a change. And Glenn explained to me what it means. It's actually a harmonized version. So it goes from one voice, or from all singing the same notes, to a harmony where we all sing different. So it broadens. What? You don't have to do that, but in this verse, something happens, which is, I'll read it. O blessed communion of the saints divine, we live in struggle, they in glory shine. And so for the first time in the hymn, we get ourselves in there, connected. Marion told me a story about how the historian Tim Tyson came and spoke here at church to a group of us. And he is a historian who especially studies the civil rights movement and the struggle for racial justice in our nation. And someone asked him, Tim, Dr. Tyson, do you ever get discouraged? Do you ever give up hope? And Tim's answer, Marion reminded me of this, Tim's answer was so beautiful. He said, absolutely not. How could I? In my studies, I study the ancestors who lived during times of struggle, who worked for justice, who faced challenges that are as great, if not greater, than the challenges we face today, but who persevered and worked. And he said it's by remembering those ancestors and keeping faith with those ancestors that inspires me in the type of life I might live today. What right do I have to give up hope if those ancestors kept the faith and kept the hope? This morning at the first service, we were joined by 6 guests. They were guests from All Souls, D.C., All Souls, like All Souls Day, All Souls, D.C. in Washington, D.C., who came down to do canvassing, get out the vote canvassing in the Triangle. They stayed with members of our church and they stayed with members of the church in Raleigh. They're part of a group at All Souls called, they're on the bus back right now, so that's why they're not here at this service. They came to the first service. They're part of a group there known as the Reeb Project, named after one of our Unitarian Universalist ancestors, Jim Reeb, who was a man who gave his life in the 1960s struggling for voting rights in the South. We live in struggle, they in glory shine. And then the final verse does not mention the saints at all. It changes the focus to us. It changes the focus to us. It's about when we face fierce strife and long conflict, it's about how we can remember the victories of those who came before us. The triumph song that they sung can speak to us as we continue their work, and as we continue our work. In just a moment, Atticus is going to call for the offering, and while the baskets are being passed, we are going to remain seated as we sing number 103, Long Overdue, for all the saints.
Freely have we received gifts that minister to our needs of body and spirit. Gladly, we bring to our church and its wide concerns a portion of this bounty. If you wish to donate online, there's a QR code on the back of the order of service, and there's information on the church's website. We will now receive the morning offering.
Who
Ancestors can be hard to recall. They lived before us, so we're trying to know and remember someone who maybe we haven't met or we didn't know for very long. Ancestors could be family, but they can also be someone from our past who is not a direct relative, but someone we claim because of the example they set. We're going to do a meditation to help us recall and remember our ancestors now. And today we're going to let our hands help us remember. So will the person on the end of the center aisle reach under their seat for a basket and select 2 colored strands from the basket and pass it down? Each person should select 2 strands, and it's best if they're different colors. And we're suddenly very back heavy, but we have plenty of props, so they're coming your way. All right, we have our strands. Take 1 strand and hold it in your hands. Now close your eyes and think of an ancestor, someone you know of who has come before you. You might have known them personally, like a grandparent or a great-grandparent, or they might be someone you admire, like freedom fighter Harriet Tubman, or peace seeker Thich Nhat Hanh, or our former minister, Charlie Cast. What's the name of the ancestor you want to remember? Try to picture them in your mind. As you run your fingers over the strand, try to think of what their face looked like. Did they have fantastic wrinkles? Or a very kind smile? What are they wearing in this picture in your mind? Maybe you've seen a photograph. How does their hair look? If you knew them, how did you feel when you were around them? What's something courageous they did, big or little, to stand up to power in their own life? What was that courageous act? Now you can open your eyes and take the other strand and hold them side by side. This new strand is you. Touch the bottoms together and start twisting the strands together like so. And while you twist, think about how you're connected to your ancestor. How are you similar to your ancestor? Maybe you share a name, add a twist. Maybe you share family, add another twist. Perhaps you have a similar twinkle in your eye, twist for that twinkle. Maybe you share circumstance, keep twisting. Or something in your life is similar. Finally, what characteristics do you share? Are you brave like them? Add a twist. Are you strong like them? Add a twist. Do you hope to have their wisdom someday? Finish twisting. Our lives are full of twists and turns. But now that you've spent some time remembering, you can see how your strand is tied up with your chosen ancestor. You can see how we are deeply connected in a line or a lineage. Lineage comes from the word line. But there's another thing I'm noticing about our embodied ancestral lines. Do you see it? They're flexible. It bends and forms. So now I want you to take a moment to bend your lineage into a meaningful shape. Maybe it's a heart, or a circle, or a squiggle, or a star. Try a star. And when you have your shape, hold up your creation for all to see. It turns out our ancestral connections are just like these fuzzy pipe cleaners. Fuzzy can mean blurry, but it can also mean warm. It can be hard to remember our ancestors, but it can feel really good when we do. The act of remembering gives shape to who they were, and it helps us think about who we want to be. Each of our creations are unique to us, but they're formed by those who came before us in this great interconnected web of life.
Our closing hymn this morning is number 336, All My Memories of Love. And I invite us to rise in body or in spirit and to sing.
Please remain standing in body or in spirit. The words for extinguishing the chalice are in your order of service. Please join me if you wish to do so. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Let's thank all of those who contributed to making the service worshipful this morning. And finally, if you would please join us in singing Shalom. The words are in your order of service. As you are comfortable, please either hold hands with the person next to you or cross your arms over your heart.